The tall, gangly thing?
We're gonna jump into game number 1. Let's see if the Skirmishers can still make it to the top.
All right, thanks.
Fantastic mid to late game, and
Yeah.
we see a Shadow Spatula on this stage 2 carousel. Kivix aggressively snaps that one up. Gonna see where Kivix decides to go with that one. A bit
Came out of the top 4 for I Miss Void Sins, so a great day for him yesterday, and we'll see if we can recreate that today. But rough start early on, but like you said, HP isn't that low, not enough to be super concerning yet.
Yeah. Goes up against Domo, who has the Yasuo, and it looks like no players will be 100 HP going into the Krug round.
If things go well. But let's check out Pokygon's perspective for a little while now. He was on top for a little while. He still is HP-wise, but the win streak was just broken. Dawnbringer, Skirmisher right now are the 2 main synergies.
Yeah. Leveled up to lose. It's a bit unfortunate, seeing his level up did come through in order to, in fact, protect the win streak. The items are still going to be the Shiv, the Shadow Locket. Now Runan's here for the Udyr. That's going to be a decent amount of damage, but looks like it probably won't be enough, again, to face this Abomination. Maybe that board is a bit better than they gave it credit for from Prime. Now Pokygon goes in a bit of...
Looking for the Aphelios, but not finding.
And
He only
Nash.
needs one more. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Okay, there's Aphelios too, but I don't know if they're going to sell the Ashe, because they're one away from Ashe 3 as well.
To cast really quickly, and then you've got the Archangel staff to buff up your damage each time you cast. So this is one of those situations where if the Zyra lives long enough to get a few casts off of, she's going to be hitting incredibly hard. Oh, and he finds a Zyra 3. That is exactly what you want. A little bit stronger there, but then again, you do drop the Brawler buff. It's not a ton of HP at this point in the game, but we'll see. It looks pretty good positioning-wise for the Zyra.
Oh man, that's going to be a Warwick carrying some items there in that board. Spencer's scouting out because saying, hey, can I dodge 8th? Can I miss Void Sins? Be eliminated? And Spencer will hang on this round. Looks like Prime's taking out Domo. Skirmisher's looking pretty good on that board. Replay, alright, we know Spencer falls here. Does Incy fall? Does I Miss Void Sins fall? Okay, I Miss Void Sins, going up against Domo. That's going to be a Yasuo 2 right now. Still 3 away from Yasuo 3, but decent amount of gold to be able to hit it. The Ashe,
that Trundle 3 died so fast.
Yeah, the Ashe is pumping so much damage, and now the Aphelios has the Bloodthirster as well. It's actually winning a lot more rounds than I gave it credit for. Domo drops to 37 HP. MS Void Sins hangs on.
It's kind of funny. The TFT is a weird game where sometimes you can take a second and feel awful because you took a second because you mess up your positioning. But you can take a 7th and feel great because you feel like you pulled it out of the fire and avoided last place, you know?
Exactly. Oh, Lee Sin and Yasuo 3 Domo just hit. Oh my, this is fantastic. Gonna be scouting out, trying to reposition the Diana into the best spot. It's gonna stay on the left-hand side, but Domo's shaping up for, it could be a lobby win with this comp.
Yeah, we'll see if he can take down Rokuyo, but that Lee Sin is going to slap as well. Like, literally, he slaps the ground, and everybody else takes damage. Look at that damage! Meanwhile, Lee Sin, or rather, Yasuo in the back, doing a lot himself. This Draven is scary, though. Ooh, that was actually really voided bottom 4. You're looking pretty good overall. We're going to keep an eye on Rokuyo's view, though, as he goes up against Pokygon. Let's see if this Draven's enough to take the round.
It's going to be against the Karma. Where does the Karma shoot? She has random targeting, so if the Draven dodges it, and if Draven's on the Hodge healing, which he's not at the moment, he needs another kill for that Hodge to actually start healing him up.
There it is.
Okay, we start getting the healing. Oh, Viego actually steals the Nidalee in the corner. That's big too, and now with that, Rokuyo is going to take out Pokygon. Zephyr as well, and OK does a good job actually putting Draven in the front line to dodge the Diana and dodge the Zephyr. So this is fantastic positioning from Rokuyo.
Yeah, actually that was really intelligent to put the Draven in the front. Got CC'd a little bit at the beginning here, but the damage is starting to pop off a bit. That Trundle is going to be so much to go through, and forget the Trundle, the entire team is coming at you now. And Domo wins that round very one-sidedly, and he's just going to take the game. That's
all right, Necro, thank you very much. Game number 2 here on day number 2 of the Reckoning mid-set finale is upon us. We're using Kled as an item holder. And this is totally fine to do because I think a lot of people view Hellions as an all-or-nothing dynamic. If I'm going to buy Hellions, I'm going to reroll Hellions or just commit to Hellions and try to play 5 Hellions. In this case, he's just trying to play his best board they can possibly get. And Kled won even with these items. He's still doing a lot of work, able to survive almost the entire end of the fight. Bloodthirster refuses to let Kled die, slowly but surely grinding away at the health of that Gragas. And this is a huge win if you're able to get it, because you're able to go on the 4th streak, get your maximum gold. We're in overtime. Ziggs has extra AP, but look at that Udyr shred every single Hellion. So we'll see whether or not I can pick up additional help. In the meantime, we're going to hop on board with Team Liquid's Grand Vice 8. The
Ooh,
Abomination, the
it's an
Draconic
A-bomb.
build.
He has an A-bomb spat, Dan. He got the Shadow Glove off of the carousel. There is the spatula on his bench. It's a huge power spike. This is a composition that performed okay yesterday, just a 37% top 4 rate, a bunch of wins, and the reason why this comp often wins lobbies is because the gap between 4 Abomination and 5 Abomination in power is just so high, and he has that spatula online early. All he needs to do is find a Rise and Raven. He does have 72 HP and 30 gold, so electing to stop rolling, you see going up against Ruel, who's also playing that 6 Forgotten, but rolled all the way down, only 10 gold on Ruel's side. So, Mua's still playing a little bit more of a greedy approach to this, saying, hey, you know what, I think my board is good enough that even if I'm not going to win fights, I should at least kill units. And if I kill units and preserve my HP, I should be able to go to level 8, which will make a big deal. And by the way, if he can steal wins along the way, that is game-changing because he is
Just look at the health separation from the farmer to second place, where Robin Songs has a very nice health total, and then everybody else is at 50 and below. So this is just showing you the power of snowballing a lobby with early skirmishers. And the farmer maybe still doesn't win the lobby, who knows, but is almost virtually guaranteed like a 5th or better, just by the nature of that HP. Have Final Whisper, so it feels like a less important need for Darius. But at the same time, it does power load all of your damage into one form, which is Draven. And we have an Assassin Draven coming from Myos, though, who's going to try to contest the Draven back-to-back, but it does end up getting stunned by the very dark blue buff Rise, which does survive with just a sliver of health. And now he'll be permacasting on the rest of the units. And Myos does not have anything to stop it. That is maximum loss. An almost full 7-0 wipe. Barely able to survive at 11 HP. Meanwhile, we're going to hop over to Robin's board, that very, very early Varus 2 that we got to see. He did pivot off of it, though, Dan. We talked about whether or not he wanted to stay in Bulldozer or go with the more traditional redeemed comp. This is the more traditional redeemed comp, probably the best in Slaughter, one of the best combinations of items for this Vel'Koz. He will be shredding the MR of everything that he is hitting on the first tick, and then he will be blowing it up with the rest of the ticks of that ultimate. But can he deal with this Assassin Draven? It's in the backline, and it's hitting the Vel'Koz with the Rune's Hurricane. It is still alive, but this Lux as a secondary carry, the Vel'Koz goes down, but he still has the damage in the Lux. It's Rise against the world. I don't see how it's going to do it, and it does not. Grand Vice. He just played Grand Vice, so it's not a situation where he is able to play him again right now with only 4 players left in the lobby. So I agree with this. He's trying to play for first place, Dan. He doesn't want to just get strong now. He wants to get strong enough to beat GV8. Can he beat Robin, though? Oh no, the clump positioning actually makes it so inefficient that not every unit was able to even engage immediately, and the Vel'Koz lines everything up, and it just comes down to the Trundle and the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser does a good job cutting through.
Look at that Trundle health bar!
The Trundle is not dying anytime soon, but at the same time, there's so much shield and tankiness. This might go down to the overtime and see who can be able to outlast whom.
The CC.
Well,
the Lux damage in OT will be scary, but it's not able to get CC'd anymore. The dodge chance on the Banshee's Veil is paying dividends. Lux is going to auto-attack. It's not enough. This Trundle will win this fight, Dan. It will not. No one will win this fight.
It's a tie.
Since he's playing for first place. Just based on the HP alone and Robin's board state, it's unlikely that Robin is going to be able to, win enough fights. He would have to win like 4 fights in a row for the farmer to drop out of the second place. So, he knows this. He knows the situation. He knows that he's not going to be able to beat Grand Vice if he just improves his board a little bit. He needs to improve it a lot, Dan. So let's see if this is the start of that a lot improvement. Meanwhile, by the way, GV8 not all the way capped out and has 30 gold, so maybe the farmer are going to be this iteration of GV8's forward, but will he be able to beat the Omega capped version? Well, really good positioning.
Yeah, the cats do disrupt on both sides. Diana able to get into the back line.
Viego stole Ash.
To do it. Viego stole Ash, but this A-Bomb did not have the Rune's Hurricane as well, so I was looking at the fight just from a perspective of what GV8's carries were, and they all went down.
Diana CC'd the entire team. It put Ash in a vulnerable spot, and then it got taken away by the Viego, so he decides to go the other way. He full clump stand. That Diana's still in a good spot. Can he win this fight?
Another Bloodthirster for Scion. I just haven't seen Rune's Hurricane chosen whatsoever. Here comes the Domination from Volibear, stun the entire front line, disable all the shields, and this is just way too swingy of a fight. The Jax is now actually being challenged, but here comes the Scion to clean everything up. And so back and forth we go. It's been one-sided fights. It ends in a blink of an eye. Could have asked for a better outcome. He got a full cast with Volibear. He got the right items. Is Kindred cast and kept his backline alive. He's just trying to avoid the Zephyr. No Zephyr chase from the farmer, and this going to hit the Ivern instead. Maybe that's a difference maker.
Yeah, maybe. Ever since the Farmer got the 9 Skirmishers online, it feels like these fights are kind of all coming up. Farmer, really, really good Kindred ulti, keeping both the carries alive. The Ashe and the Zyra just wailing away. He got the Runaan's Hurricane onto the Abomination, so that is really doing more DPS, but it's just too much on the side of the Farmer. Once he got the 9 Skirmishers in, Dan, it felt like we saw it really start to work out for him. I mean,
on the screen as well, and now, Bryce, let's see if you were right. Look at that, though. The Farmer with 2 back-to-back wins, going to put them at 20 points, Dan.
Seeing that transition into pretty successful redeemed comps in my lobby.
Right. But Goobum certainly is going to be putting a lot of pressure on this lobby.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 Kazakhs too, and that is actually insane. That's probably one of the strongest things you can have on your board in the early game. 1 Kazakh stew is strong enough, so having 2 of them, that's pretty amazing. Here's our reigning current points leader, the Farmer, at 2 first places, getting his start here. A little bit of a Dawnbringer start, found the Nidalee and the Riven. So even though they're not 2 stars, you can see this board is still putting up a decent fight.
Wow.
Don't know. Looks like it might be just enough to take out this Poppy, but it is a 2-star. Now they got it. Wow. All right, it's chance of playing against, because nothing feels worse, Crowan, than like losing that win streak or even that loss streak right before a neutral round like this.
Yeah, that could be up to like a 10 to 20 gold swing, depending, and that's a lot, especially when you're trying to get up to making that 50, break point. And it's going to be going into the pacing lobby as well. Does face Goobums, and Goobums did get Kennen too. That's a huge stun. Looks like Goobums might be a bit favored here. Unless the Kazakhs? No, the Kazakhs doesn't get the isolation. Yeah, that's going to be a 4-0 loss there. On 3-2, leveling to 6, trying to, stabilize. As we move on over to Old Lodo. Old Lodo was the person who grabbed the Yasuo with the rod, but looks like it was sold, and they're looking like they're just going for a Karma.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there's the Shadow-Handed Justice as well, and the Shadow Death Cap, so this is going to be a very, very high damage Karma. He doesn't have to sell the Warwick now, at least. You got that going for him.
That's true. that's going to be...
There's a Rise.
Okay,
he sells it anyway.
Anyway, I mean, okay.
Okay, so at least he's got 6 Forgotten in there now. And he's got good Rise items, so we'll see what happens.
But no Draven items. The gold box gave the Taric and Aphelios, and it's great that you get to utilize the Taric right now. It's actually going to be decently strong. But is there ever a consideration of an Aphelios pivot, especially because the Darius is in that shop? Probably not. So these Aphelios are probably just going to turn into some gold eventually when we can actually make an econ breakpoint. The Rise? It's actually good enough to win this round.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that people always talk about Draven as a carry, and once in a while Vayne for Forgotten as well. But champions like Rise can certainly be carried
like that as well. Yeah, it went like bottom 4, but I think Forgotten, then Dawnbringers. Then as soon as they go over to Skirmishers, then they're starting to get a bit of momentum under their way. And I mean, it's nice that the farmers recognize that and is leaning into it very heavily, right? Because if things aren't working on day number 1, even if you planned them, just go the things that are working. Utilize that momentum to your advantage. I think that's something that a lot of TFT players kind of don't really do as much as maybe they should. And it's still rough going up against this Karma 2 board, but the Karma miss is there, and then the Jax is still able to clean everything up. This Jax is insane. Yeah, the healing from the
little pieces you need here and there. There's the Darius. Speaking of pieces you need, there it is. And it can be a game. It can be a lobby-winning composition. Now, a Darius 1 may not be something you want to swap in right now.
Units, so it's going to be a bit more powerful. It's going to wait though. It looks like wanting to find maybe some more items from the this dragon round or just the Darius 2, but definitely wants it for a capped out version of the board. Lunatune's Riven 3.
I was going to say, speaking of capped out, it's a capped out Riven. Look at those items as well, and Lunatune's just got really scary. He just hit that before this round as well, so this is a brand new Riven 3. That said, it's getting absolutely eaten alive by these ranges right now, but maybe Karma can save the day?
Oh.
Nidalee can save the day with the dodge.
Wow, that's actually probably a Hodge diff right there. When Aphelios casted, he wasn't on the Hodge healing mode. It was turned off, and if he had healed there, and it had more damage, he would have killed more units, and then turned it back on to be able to maybe win out the round. But Farmer is going level 9 with Jax 1. Wow, I mean, that's the strength, I think, a lot of the Pantheon, being able to be that fantastic carry there. Now we go to 9, so options, not only can we roll down, likely to hit Jacks too, we can put in things like Ironclad to face up against the Rangers as well, and that's going to be a huge board strength, huge in your board strength too. Can the Farmer do 3 games in a row, first place, after the 888 yesterday? That'd be such a fantastic pivot.
It'd be one of the biggest turnarounds we've ever seen in a TFT tournament play. I've never seen a player do that poorly and then do that well a little bit later. So yeah, if they can pull off 3 firsts in a row, that would be unprecedented in a competitive TFT.
Oh, this round's looking a little rough though. The Jax is already taken out. Aphelios, the Rangers, they're doing work.
Yeah, I don't know if this board is going to be able to do it. It's certainly strong. Oh, that a clutch Lulu ult right there too, stopping the Pantheon. But he's walking forward. If Pantheon gets one more ult off, oh, that was close.
A lot closer than I thought. Rel on the other, or it's a bunch of units on the other side. Jax moving. Yeah, I think this cannon's usually going to be able to get the ult off.
Right. Going up against Lunatunes, and he does manage to avoid the Riven 3 with his Jax, which is probably the most important thing about the positioning here. A lot of this comes down to where the Karma is going to shoot, and if the Jax can get onto the Riven fast enough. Stuck on the tank though.
Yeah, the Gragas.
Stuck on the Gragas, yeah.
It is going to get through it. No healing from the Riven besides just the Dawnbringer, so yeah. Lunatunes goes down actually. Bot 4 having the Farmer fan, and I don't want to be let down here. Let's see.
I grew up in Wisconsin, man. I'm very familiar with farming and all that, so, you know, maybe got a little bit of that in my blood. I don't know.
Not me at all, but hey, maybe I can be converted over.
It's never too late to learn.
We'll see. The Rangers, the Kindred's still alive there in the back line. They already ulted. Can I get another ult off, though? That would be huge. Kindred, she gets the shields.
Yeah.
But Cannon, no. She doesn't.
Jax. One more cast from Aphelios. Maybe that'll do it. Oh, it doesn't hit the Jax. Jax is in the back line. He's doing it. And that is it. Are you kidding me? 3 firsts in a row for the Farmer X. That is insane, Crowan.
No surprise to anybody that the Farmer has 30 points from those 3 firsts in a row. But Crowan, do you think that the Farmer, especially after going... All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into game number 4. Verdant and Bryce, have fun with this one.
All right, game number 4, we're going to hop on board.
Does adjust some of that power a little bit. You know, it's kind of pushing on what Cultist was and taking it even further. In this situation, he's just going to use it as extra frontline, I assume. I'm not sure I love the positioning. I think I'd like to see, you know, either the Brand or the Callista wind up in the front row so it dies a little bit faster. But up against GV8's board, only 4 units, not quite as powerful in terms of the itemization of his carry with that 1-star Callista. I think it should be a pretty easy fight win for Pocky.
Please, Bryce, it's a family broadcast. No dropping F words. 3, 2, go. Fun.
Yeah, has to cop a Shadow Vest here. Pretty good. We'll be able to build that Shadow, lock it onto Hecarim. That's nice. Overall, the items are not in a great spot for Doe, I would say, right? Like, no tiers to go on to, an Ultimate Rise. His potential items for his carry Draven are relatively weak. Is hitting some of the units he's looking for. Wow, a lot of upgrades. He just needs to find that Katarina or high roll one of the early forecasts, and he does it. The Rise comes out really, really big.
Good job, Karen. You can see Domo actually has very astutely observed that he does not want to put the Shadow Locket buff onto Victor because he doesn't want to slow the mana gain opportunity, because Victor casting multiple times is, a little bit on the tier of Rise casting a lot, just because of the value of the shields that you get. Feels a little bit of a hybrid of Lux, plus the amount of damage is front-loaded because you don't have to wait for the auto attack. So I think that in this position, as much as Father Shalom's health total isn't the best position, it's actually quite well positioned to even go into the top 4 and maybe further beyond. I think this is a really solid comp right now.
Who really rolled down for kind of the standard Yasuo composition in this spot, but as we're seeing, Kivix's board being an example, the other units that he's looking for to complete this Dragonslayer trait in the Pantheon and the Trundle are really hard to come by in this lobby because skirmishers are so contested, right? So the units that he wants to kind of round out the standard version of this composition, he just is not likely to find them, certainly, in a tough spot, at least finding them. And so saying, hey, you know what? I don't necessarily need to have 4 Dragonslayer online. I don't have to play the way that everyone thinks this composition has to be played.
And have like Pike do ungodly things. Now Frozen Heart is very devastating if timed and positioned correctly, which is put on an emphasis and premium with a unit like Diana, which punishes the backline. She jumps to the back, she's on the right unit, slowing down. Here comes the Moonfall, mixing up everything, and you can see exactly why this is a devastating combination. It's slow for just enough time. The question is the Yasuo able to finish off everything while Diana stalled? And it looks like he should be able to chop through. So some good positioning, some good itemization, some good teamfight tactics, which kind of highlights exactly what you were saying, which is Rangers, while being one of the most capped, most powerful comps that you can put out, pound for pound, one of the strongest compositions in teamfight tactics. It just has so many conditions that it feels like you need to hit in order to get to that power spike, because I've seen so many players get into a reasonable spot and just go 8th, despite having a lot of the ingredients for a delicious recipe.
But you just need to check a lot of boxes. You know, he is going up against Kivix's board, who has a Jax 1, you know, not a very strong iteration of the Skirmisher's board, right? We talked about how contested it was, and this fight appears to be relatively close. That Jax 1 putting out enough damage with the Runaan's Hurricane. Is it enough to actually kill the Aphelios, though? It does get the Aphelios down. We still have an Ashe and a Kindred alive. Kindred's going to ult one more time, so it's enough. So I miss Voidsens will avoid the 8th place as GV8 goes out on that fight.
Survive. If he gets a good matchup, good positioning, able to even win one more, this could easily turn from what should be a 6th into a top 4. But he's going up against Father Shalom, who hit Yasuo 3 at the very last second. And that's something that's so difficult to scout for, because that is exactly why he waited to the last moment. And this is going to be tough. The Diana cast the Moonfall. Jax is stalled, not able to ramp up the attack speed. Bryce, I feel like this might be the bottom 4 finish, although Jax is still not actually being addressed. Oh my goodness. Nothing actually aggroed onto the Jax whatsoever, so he ended up hanging on to the fight for a long time.
Right, obviously Garen could do a lot of work. He has the Morellonomicon onto the Volibear, which can apply it to the whole team, essentially, and there's just so much power. He's basically just playing a whole bunch of good units. Also, not nearly capped out yet, Dan. A lot of opportunity to 2-star, can tech in 4 Invoker, he can play up a bunch of Mystics. This is exactly where Pocky likes to be. He's in the lead in HP, and he has an enormous amount of flexibility about where he takes his board from here in order to make sure that he winds up winning, you know, whoever he winds up facing in that 1v1 in the end.
Yeah, this was one of the first concepts. And in this case, your opponent does true damage, so Mystics doesn't even really help. He does end up clumping enough for that Diana, which has full defensive utility items, but that Syndra able to throw it all the way across from downtown, and Diana only casts on the front line Volibear, which gives enough space for this Heimerdinger to cast multiple times, and now that Rage Blade is going to translate the attack speed to the turret, that should wrap it up. A big win for Pokygom. Is it enough to wipe out the remaining health from Father of Shalom? Just barely enough. 19 on the dot. Pokygom going to close out Game 4 on top with the first place.
If the Draven can stay up and do that DPS, and let's see how he uses the Trap Claw.
That's right, can use it in the middle of the fight. Airstorm still hasn't placed it yet. Waiting for the Vel'Koz to cast down the middle. Here comes the Doombringers back-to-back. Volibear. The Trap Claw does end up stunning for the Vel'Koz. The Vel'Koz does have the Shojin to be able to cast once more. Draven still unchecked. Rise still alive with the very dark blue buff, casting multiple times. Once more interrupting the Vel'Koz. So Prime is going to take heavy losses. But that is exactly why we saved this Force of Nature, the Shadow Force of Nature, to put in multiple units in. What is the weapon of choice? Does have the ability to play Kindred. I like that. Is it Kindred and Jax? He does have the Ironclad. The armor will count for something. Buying the Teemo and selling just for the extra gold infusion. 2-starring these units would be very nice just to have a stronger board. Finds Jax 2. Can't afford to buy the other Teemo because he's at exactly 6 life. What is going to happen here for Prime? Finds Volibear 2, but he would have to replace the other Volibear on the board. He doesn't have enough units. He just places a 1-star Poppy in because that's what he has to do. Is this going to be enough, Bryce?
No Trap Claw cheese this fight, which is a really, really big deal. It is in the middle of the board, so the Vel'Koz has a high chance of proccing it. It looks like the Volibear took it first, so this Vel'Koz first ulti does get interrupted, not by the Trap Claw. Meanwhile, last time we saw that Viego steal the Rel, which had huge impact. This time, not so much, as Viego is walking into the back line, going to get tossed by Syndra, so no damage there, but so much damage from the Draven coming out. There's just too much on the other side. Prime with 9 units, just not able to get it done, and this was really coming down to positioning, Dan. At the end of the day...
See how things are shaken up, especially because only 16 players, Bryce, get a chance to advance to day number 3.
Yeah, and it's incredibly close. We only have 2 lobbies left. Certainly no one is mathematically eliminated.
All right, well, thanks, Necro. We're going to go into the second to last game of the day. Here we go, Crowan, and on board with GV8. You know, just going off what Necro said.
Oh, man. We'll check in later and see if those items do actually go onto the Yasuo or not.
Ooh.
But for now, we get Benva's POV with already a Rise with a very dark blue buff on 3-2. Don't quite have 6 for God. Oh, we do actually, because the Warwick's on the bench, and it goes in. So, in a pretty decent spot. As a Hecarim too, it's going to look a lot more comfortable in terms of preserving in the mid game, but for now, still the Shadow Warmugs is decent. It is going to go up against GV8, who now has a brand, has the Abomination that's going to charge immediately to the back line and take out the Vayne. Oof. Yeah, this Abomination's going to run over the rest of Benva's comp.
Yep, pretty strong Abomination. The Jewel Gauntlet isn't quite as useful, but the IE, it can be.
With it as well, yeah. Can be Draconic, but probably not. Robin Songs, however, the player on the bottom of the leaderboard in HP, is trying to just roll it down really aggressively at 4-1 to find some upgrades. Finally hits the Hecarim too, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, he needed to.
Player, which looks like it's the farmer. Finds a Heimer now and plays that as well.
Ooh, okay. Because yeah, you're not super committed to the Karma. I mean, I think Dawnbringer is certainly the plan, but then again, there's another Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
So you can end it. I mean, the thing is, too, if you're running Invokers, if he gets that in, you can run Heimerdinger just as a side unit, and he can sometimes do a ton of damage, and there's the Garen. Okay, now we're in business. Is it time to swap out Abomination?
But still, it's doing okay, and both are level 8. Oh, GV8 now on a Garen pair. Definitely rolls it down here. Finds some upgrades. Which ones come through, though? That's the question. Hitting Garen too. Oh, wow. My.
It's lit, as they say. Yeah. That is a 5% chance to hit a 5-cost, and he gets 3 Garens. Like that's amazing.
Garen too.
Yeah, looking pretty strong. Maybe GG first at this point if he can find that Karma too.
Honestly,
you can see him looking a little bit uncomfortable there because although the Garen 2 is nice, you still want to have more Karma damage. A Karma 2 would be such a massive upgrade for this board now.
Yeah. And the Garen items aren't amazing. Sunfire is generally an item that's like pretty good early game, so no doubt that GV8 slammed it for the early power, but really wants a Warmogs. Even still, spot for Viego to jump into.
Yeah, here's the farmer again, on the verge of being knocked out in 6th. And
might happen.
Yeah, it's possible, and you know, I was watching his stream earlier, and he was saying like he felt comfortable with the points he'd gotten with his 3 first places in a row, and he was just going to play 1st or 8th for the rest of the day. So definitely feels like that. And you know, hey, how about a 1st or a 6th? That's a little bit better, and that's exactly where he's going to go out. 6th place for the farmer. Still plenty of points to work with here.
Oh yeah,
to get into day 3.
Katarina 3. Double Katarina naturally in that shop. Viego. Rolling kind of slow, and all this time is spent rolling and no time spent scouting, which means that Diana is not going to jump into the clump. Actually, moves the Diana into a bad spot. And yeah, it's not going to hit the Varus now.
Wow, Zephyr on the Katarina 3 as well. And that is a Shadow Zephyr, so Katarina's up there for 10 seconds. She's going to be more powerful when she comes down, but she's been out of the fight for basically the entire thing. Is it still going to be enough damage? Looks like it is, though.
Yeah, Assassins, there's just way too much damage to deal with. Even with the Diana jumping into not a great spot between the Katarina and the Nocturne. Viego as well, actually. Viego did more damage than Katarina, though, so that's a little concerning if we want to contest a lobby win here.
Yeah. There's a Volibear. Okay, so
there
going
we go.
up to 4 Revenant now. And now this is where it gets scary, because everything comes back with, I believe, 100% HP at 4 Revenant.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, so that's going to make this board absolutely terrifying.
Let's see, moving to this round. Actually, it was nerfed. It's 75%.
Oh, 75. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was 100 at one point.
It was, but did get nerfed. Still
I don't
pretty
see
strong,
a lot of 4
though.
Revenant games.
Not at all. Need the spat, need all the units. Only the 6 Assassins really where it pops off and comes online, and it's popping off here against Robin Songs. Could even take out Robin right now. Is it enough damage? Yes, it is. Father of Shalom, Robin, and Broccoli all falling there. And now we have a 1v1 between GV8 and Ruel. Fantastic at denying these karmas as soon as they come up, knowing that GV8 is going to be your 1v1 opponent.
So you got to do, that's right. He's got Heimerdinger in the front line, so he can get that cast off quickly. And he does. You only get 1, really, but it does come out pretty quick.
Oh.
And that's going to be enough? Wow.
Positioning diff. actually frontlined the Karma there so that the assassins wouldn't get on her in time, and actually backlined the Garen.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Doesn't even need it.
That is.
Wait, did G-Vate still not find a Karma too?
No, he hasn't.
That feels so bad.
That is unlucky.
I mean, I don't know at this point if it would have made a huge
he finds
huge bit of difference. He does finally find it, but finding that earlier would have at least let him come into this 1v1 with a little bit more HP. So that is rough to go this far and not find that Karma too. All right, Zephyr's the Garen. This is going to be able to avoid a little bit of that big AoE damage and the MR shred.
Oh, Karma's still alive in this round though.
Yeah.
Oh, she's pumping out so much damage.
Oh, Nocturne goes down, comes back up because of the 4 Revenant buff. He's got plenty of HP. 4 Revenant making such a big difference as well. And that is it. Ruel is going to win the game with this 6 Assassin build. Crowan, I guess...
Helped out Slip and Bug and Mayusel. You can see, wow, it helps him out a lot. Slip and Bug able to win the tiebreaker right now over Spencer, TFT, and Azarin, Crowan. Dan and Bryce, take it away.
All right, this is the conclusion of day number 2 here at the Reckoning mid-set finale. We're going to hop on board with Rokuyo. This Katarina that I picked up, but Rokuyo just rents it for 1 turn, immediately levels off Cadence to 5 to try and beat out Prine and I Miss Void Sins and hope that he can get the advantage surely through numbers.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is along the lines of what we were discussing in terms of his approach. By the way, Prine, also a bubble player at 25 points, also leveling at 5, so this is a really high-stakes matchup. The early Sunfire will pay a lot of dividends. These fights last a lot longer, so that burn value is really high. The Kha'Zix does get tossed all the way to the other side, so not going to assassinate that Syndra, but there's just a lot of effective HP left up. You saw the Dawnbringer trigger on the Gragas. The Sunfire Leona is dead. It is going to be Syndra against the world. She does have a meaningful amount of damage, Dan. The Kha'Zix cast is now done. Can Syndra deal with it? I don't think so. She's going to toss a unit away. She's going to have 2 units to deal with. She does! She tosses it directly on top of it, and Rokuyo is so heartbroken there. He does not care, Dan. He was in a spot where he could have easily pivoted. He could have rolled down on level 6 and gone for kind of more standard Skirmishers board. He already had that Jax. He has great items for Skirmishers. Instead, this man is hyper-rolling for his Hellions. He finds a Cannon, which is a big hit. Not finding the Kleds, though, and still no Lulu, so I would say that this roll down has gone below average for him so far. Be interesting to see how far he's willing to dip, considering that he's so far away. Wow, he's just gonna keep going.
No, not even finding a Kled 2. It felt like he was rolling on level 6. I just couldn't believe the amount of 2 and 3 costs that were showing up time after time. And while that's normally a good thing for a lot of people to be able to have shops where so many 2 and 3 costs when you're at level 4, this is a disaster for Slip and Bug. He is so far away from stabilizing and hitting a power spike. He only has about 10 hit points more, or a dozen hit points more than Spencer. So if you were to evaluate these things in a vacuum, Spencer does feel much better set up, and now with a full transition to 4 Nightbringers putting in the Rangers, this is definitely a pretty ambitious attempt. We have seen Rangers fall flat on their face, but I think that this is a pretty good setup here from Spencer in particular.
5 and 4 6, but he is doomed on stage 5 without that Spear of Sojourn, so I do get where he's coming from. He does make a nice swap onto the right side into Pokécom's board.
Yeah, Botcom has a Skirmisher spatula. It just seems like everybody hit a spatula if they wanted to. Some people opted out of it. Here comes the cast from the Double Jewel Gauntlet. There's a good amount of damage. Remember, Skirmishers is a composition that Fel'Koz initially has a good matchup into, since they do tend to be melee. They do gather around Rel, and you're able to sustain and put out a lot of damage. But look at this Trundle with the Ionic Darkspark. He is not messing around. He has a club, and he's not afraid to use it. Here comes another bite in overtime, but Syndra trying to stall long enough. Fel'Koz just turning the laser around. Round and round we go. Who's going to win this fight? Trundle is going to dab on Prine. Still no ability to get that mana to ramp up for the Fel'Koz. Finally hits Syndra 3. But is that enough?
Win this lobby, right? He doesn't even necessarily need to top 4. I would say if he gets a 6th place, he's in decent shape. 5th place, very, very likely to advance from his spot. So hopefully he understands those dynamics and is able to kind of eke out the placement he needs. Meanwhile, Slip and Bug could be on 1 life here. He's on the wrong side. The Kled does go, off of the horse and is now able to do a meaningful amount of damage. Just so much different threat on this board from Slip and Bug with all these 3-stars, but the tankiness of the Vel'Koz is just proving really hard for him to deal with. He slams the Guardian Angel in order to try to get another cast. Will it be enough to swing the fight?
Yes, huge. Being able to deal damage, because remember, Slip and Bug is one of the players below him, so if you can kind of guarantee him to finish below, that's huge for Pride's chances.
Would in certain other situations. I agree, we're very likely to see the Revenant spat slammed. It can go onto a frontliner that can become Garen later. Does a last-minute swap of the Karma to be safe. We interesting to see if they choose to slam the QSS or if they hold off. Wow, a great Zephyr from Slip and Bug after that narrow loss. Kinnan onto the back line. This Karma will do a meaningful amount of work, but can they deal with the dual threats of this Kinnan and the Kled?
Yes, it turns out. Kled is just not able to get it done. Kinnan does get the stuns, does have enough stall, but again, Slip'n'Bug just barely losing. Huge to be able to take out that Riven just enough, and Slip'n'Bug lives to potentially see the 5-2 Armory.
But I don't think that Prine or Pocky are capable of beating Slip'n'Bug in his current form. Rakuyo going to go up against Spencer. The Rangers board is pretty strong. I don't think it's enough to deal with the power of this Zyra 3, but the Zyra is on the wrong side, so, it's going to consistently be ulting away from the main damage source of the Aphelios. Is that enough for Spencer to be able to win the fight? The Deathblade is stacking up. The Abomination unit is finally out. The Aphelios isn't able to do enough damage. It's not enough of the conditions that you want to see to win. Meanwhile, Slip and Bug going up against Prine's board. We talked about that matchup. The Kled does keep getting thrown away. Okay, the Guardian Angel has been popped. This Kled is wailing away, but the Syndra 3 is tossing it away. The Runaan's Hurricane does deal with it. Okay, we're back out. I'm pretty sure Syndra 3 beats Kled 2 every time. Oh, and Prine chases him around, adding insult to injury, Dan.
That's right. Nunu 3 for Rakuyo.
That huge Diana ulti in the middle, adding so much CC, and that Aphelios just slowly but surely, like you said, going to take a longer period of time without that last Whisper, but it eventually ramps up. It's a ramping build, right? The Ginsu's Rage Blade, the evil version of it is that, plus the Death Blade. This Aphelios, if it can have the time to do damage, gets very, very scary. Also a smart swap, once again, opposite of the Zyra. Is it enough? Another big Diana ulti, but there's just so much power on this Abomination board with the Nunu 3, the Zyra 3. Zyra is now targeting this Aphelios, so it's going to have trouble playing the game for the rest of this. I think he has taken it as far as he is capable of going here, Dan. Part of Rakuyo's backline. If Rakuyo just positions a little bit better, gets away from the Diana, doesn't give the Yasuo free access, I see basically no world in which he wins. Okay, interesting. He fakes the swap and Sins reads it sort of. The Diana's in the right place, but the Yasuo is not. I don't see how he wins this fight.
Yeah, we'll see. The rapid fire Dan comes down on Thresh. Here comes the Dawnbringer from the Volibear. It didn't get the Nightbringer shield, but it's totally fine. This is just an overwhelming amount of units. Science has entered the chat, and now that Mordekaiser has to 1v9, and it's just not happening on Summoner's Rift, and it certainly isn't happening right now. It does seem like he's trying to put up a fight. It was a valiant effort indeed, but Rakuyo ends the game, ends day number 2 on top. First place with a nice Abomination victory.
Things ready to go. Big drum roll here. No surprise that the farmer with 4 wins is going to be up on top, but Dan, the 8 players that will not advance to day number 3.
Oh, another tie that ends up squeezing out one player. Just